Here we are. We made it to day 3. Surprisingly, so did everyone else in the courtroom. So far, all of Judge Graham's hair is still intact. Will it stay that way until the end of this trial? I guess we're about to find out. And again, if you're new here, please check the link on your screen right now or the many links in your description, because this is not where you want to start your journey on this case.
Ms. Gutierrez is with us for the department. Ms. Wiggins is with us representing the children. Ms. Kincaid is with us representing the mother. Ms. Lopez, who is with us. Mr. McClendon is with us representing himself. That's everyone. I have no one in the waiting room currently. My notes indicate that when we last ended, Ms. Kincaid had just examined her client, Ms. Lopez, and we were ready to start cross-examination. So, Ms. Gutierrez, you may proceed with cross-examination of Ms. Lopez.
Thank you, Your Honor. Is she still under oath?
Let's just go ahead and swear again. Ms. Lopez, if you'd unmute. Thank you. Ms. Gutierrez.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Lopez, since the removal of Joe Lease, what basic necessities have you provided for him?
I provided him his bed, his bedding, new clothing as he does not fit his clothing that he was in, shoes, food, a proper and safe home, reliable transportation.
And Your Honor, I'm going to re-ask my question, but clarify it. Ms. Lopez, I mean, what basic necessities have you provided to King during the case? Not necessarily what's in your home, but what have you given to King?
Okay, wait a minute. You said Joe Lease first.
I'm sorry.
Now you said King.
Thank you, Your Honor. What have you given to Joe Lease directly?
While he's been in the group home?
Yes, ma'am.
I brought him toys. I bought him a watch. I purchased him a golden necklace. I buy him food every time I see him. I've given him money to go and buy things he's asked for and wanted. He wants his hair in braids. I've asked for an appointment to be set so I could pay for that. I've offered to buy his hair products, which I have not been given the opportunity to do that. That's pretty much it.
Have you bought him any clothing?
Yes.
Okay. What clothing have you got for him?
A t-shirt and a pair of pants and some shoes.
Okay. And have you gotten any clothing for King?
No.
Have you gotten any shoes for King?
Yes.
Okay. And have you gotten any clothing for Jonathan Jr.?
Yes.
Have you gotten any shoes for Jonathan Jr.?
Yes.
Okay. What clothing did you get for Jonathan Jr.?
I had got him an outfit for Christmas. Then I had brought him more outfits. I say middle of 2024, with the pair of shoes.
Okay. Now you testified earlier, or I believe Wednesday, that you were asking the court for a monitored return. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you identified Taisha McClendon as your support system for that monitored return. Is that correct?
Yes.
You also testified that you would give Jonathan visits with the children supervised by you or Taisha. Is that correct?
No.
Okay. Can you clarify then?
I said he has supervised visitations with his daughter.
Okay. So are you planning to give Jonathan supervised visitation with these boys if they are returned to you?
If Judge grants so, then I will.
Okay. Has Mr. McClendon ever hit you, Alyssa?
Yes,
Okay. Do you think Mr. McClendon is a good father?
I do.
And you testified that you are currently receiving unemployment. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you know approximately how long that benefit will last?
Until 2026.
Now, regarding Anthony Cunningham, is it correct that there were two separate days where Anthony Cunningham caused problems at your home?
No, not at my home.
Oh, okay. Let me rephrase. Caused problems at 945 Columbine.
Yes.
Were you present? Let me ask a different question. Was the first incident on May 29th of 2025?
I believe so.
Were you present for that incident?
No.
And then the second incident occurred on June 3rd of 2025. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that was at 945 Columbine. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, it sounded like, I'm not sure, so hopefully you can help me clear this up. Like you had two interactions with Mr. Cunningham in which you were assaulted. Is that accurate?
No.
Okay. So can you go ahead and tell me in your own words what occurred on June 3rd of 2025 with Anthony Cunningham?
Anthony Cunningham arrived to Jonathan McClendon's residence. He was acting hostile and irate. Long story short, I tried to flag down an officer who was on beat. He kept doing his beat. Anthony Cunningham then was trying to lure Jonathan into the street. Jonathan told him to go on somewhere. He don't want any problems, leave him alone. Anthony Cunningham then took it upon himself to run into the yard. As doing so, he struck me and bear hugged Jonathan, and they fell to the ground.
Okay. And at that point, where was the child that was?
My child was inside.
She was inside the house at 945 Columbine. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Once that fighting started, what did you do?
Well, I called 911.
Okay. And following that, did you engage in the physical altercation?
No.
Okay. I think there was some testimony that you had tried to get him off of him. I might be mistaken. Let me rephrase my question. Did you try to stop the fight?
Yes.
What actions did you take?
I was pulling Anthony Cunningham from being on top of Jonathan.
Okay. Why did you feel that that was necessary?
Well, because a 400-pound guy was squishing somebody who wasn't even trying to cause a problem.
Now, when Officer Tipton arrived, did you refer to 945 Columbine as your baby daddy's residence?
I did.
Okay. And were you referring to Jonathan McClendon?
I did.
Did you next refer to 945 Columbine as quote unquote, my property?
No.
Your Honor, I asked the court to take note on the exhibit of Officer Tipton's body cam footage in the upper right-hand corner. There's a timestamp of approximately 14:32:58.
All right, so noted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Alyssa, did Mr. McClendon tell the officer that he was going to let him do whatever they were going to do until he started charging to the door at my wife?
I don't recall what Jonathan told officers.
Your Honor, I asked the court to note in that same body cam footage of Officer Tipton at 14:47:00.
All right, so noted.
And did Mr. McClendon then say that he started charging at my wife?
Like I said, I'm unsure of what Jonathan McClendon told officers.
Were you present during Mr. McClendon's conversation with Officer Tipton?
For some of it, yes, but not for the whole thing.
Were you sitting right next to Mr. McClendon as he spoke with Officer Tipton?
I was, but I was filling out a police report.
Did Mr. McClendon tell Officer Tipton that he had told Anthony Cunningham he was going to, quote unquote, kill your bitch ass bro?
I don't recall.
And at some point, did Mr. McClendon actually leave the home at 945 Columbine to go after Anthony Cunningham?
I'm unsure of where he went, but
There's been testimony that you asked DFPS Annalise Kendall about getting, or not asked, but told her you wanted to get a protective order against Jonathan McClendon. Do you recall that testimony?
I do.
Why did you talk about wanting a protective order against Jonathan McClendon?
Well, because the issue regarding mine and Jonathan's relationship, everybody says he stays with me, lives with me, and things like that. So I felt it was necessary for me to get a protective order so that way it would prove I'm willing to do whatever it takes to keep him away to get my children.
Now, there was a permanency hearing on January 13th of 2025. And in that permanency hearing, you stated you had not seen Jonathan McClendon in person since January of 2024. Do you recall that?
I don't recall that.
If you had made that statement, was it true?
No.
Pass the witness.
All right. Ms. Lopez, you said Rain was in the house when Anthony showed up, correct?
Yes, sir.
Was he in 945 or 947?
At 945.
And that's Jonathan's residence, correct?
Yes, sir.
You weren't living at 947 on the day that this happened.
Oh, no, sir. No, no, sir.
What was Rain doing in Jonathan's house instead of?
I was over there for a supervised visit when Anthony Cunningham came over and was causing the issue.
Okay, so who was in the house with Rain while you were outside when this all took place?
I had called Taisha McClendon, which is the
I
aunt.
didn't ask if you called her. When Anthony showed up, if Rain was in the house, who was in the house with him if you were outside?
Well, I was outside, or I was in the house. Jonathan was outside telling Anthony Cunningham he needed to go on somewhere. I came outside with her on the porch, tried to flag down Officer Tipton. That was unsuccessful. So I came back inside and I had called Taisha McClendon. Taisha McClendon then came over. When she came over, I went outside. And the incident happened while Taisha was inside with my child, of basically me being struck, Jonathan being bear hugged, and him going to the ground.
Okay. All right. And you may have answered this at some other point. Somebody may have asked you this, but back to the incident when the children were left alone. Why did you leave the house? And apparently you have admitted to several people that you knew Jonathan had already gone. Why did you leave the children alone?
Well, just truth be told, I did not know Jonathan had left, but I had left in a result of a de-escalation of a fight that me and Jonathan were in. I was told that if I just told them the truth, so I went along with Jonathan's story.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to hearsay. I don't know who she's referring to.
Amy Bailey.
Your Honor, Amy Bailey has testified, and there were no questions along the lines of whether or not Amy Bailey told her to just go along with it.
No, Jonathan McClendon did.
He told you to go along with what?
What he had told Amy Bailey, and Detective Hodges in the night of question who left my children. And so I did. And I've been charged and I've done everything. And it was amongst the words that I would get my children back, which that did not happen. Everything else slapped me in my face, such as charges and still fighting for my children.
Well, you pled guilty to child abandonment.
I did, Your Honor.
So you basically were telling the judge, I knowingly left my children alone. And then there's been testimony that I'm trying to look back that it was during Amy Bailey's testimony, said the testimony was that it was finally determined that the father, Mr. Jonathan, had left the house before you, and that mother admitted it. So Amy says you admitted that you left after Jonathan had gone. Now,
Yes, Your Honor, I did tell
are
Amy
you
that.
are you telling me today that wasn't true? You just went along with that because Jonathan told you to say that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. All right then. Mr. McClendon, do you have questions for Ms. Lopez? You're muted.
Sorry about that. Miss Lopez, do you have a
Yes.
copy of Detective Hodges' report from that December 19th night?
No, I do not.
Are you are you privileged to any of the information that was in that report?
What do you mean by that?
Did you get to read or see that report at all?
No,
Okay. Did you speak with Officer Hodges that night?
I did.
Did you tell Officer Hodges that you left the children at home knowingly while I was gone that night, December 13th?
No, I did not.
I didn't hear you if you answered.
I said no, I did not.
Okay. Had I spoken with you before you spoken with, or before you spoke with Detective Hodges?
No.
Okay. So if it were, I have the report. So let me state that first. So this is not like a speculation or anything. So if it were in the report that you told him that night that you left the children at the house willingly, knowing I was gone, would that be true?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to hearsay. This report has not been entered into evidence.
Overruled. I want to hear this.
Can you ask that again?
If it were in the report that I have that you told Detective Hodges that night, after a long scrutiny, that you actually did knowingly leave the children at the house after I left for reasons of trying to get me to come back, would it be true?
No.
Okay, Miss Lopez, why is that in that report?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to speculation.
Sustain.
Okay, Miss Lopez, an even simpler question. Are you saying that Detective Hodges is lying?
Objection, speculation.
Sustain.
Is okay. Oh, my bad. Miss Lopez, are you saying that the information in the report from that night is incorrect?
Your Honor, I'm going to again object to hearsay and speculation since that report is not in evidence.
Overruled.
I don't know if the report is even correct. I have not looked at that report.
Well, he's saying if it's in the report, is it incorrect?
Well, if he's reading what he just told me or is asking me, yes, it is.
It's a hypothetical. If it's in the report, is that incorrect?
Yes, yes, it is.
Okay, all right. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, Miss Lopez, do you know what the word integrity means?
Yes.
Okay. My question is, did you knowingly leave the children in the house that night after I'd left?
No.
Miss Lopez, were you on the phone with your mother that night at all, at any time?
Yes.
Okay, Miss Lopez, did you tell your mother on the phone that night he better get back here because I don't give a F word anymore. I'm leaving them.
No.
Okay. Miss Lopez, do you know if I called the police that night?
I know you didn't.
Okay, there was testimony earlier in this in the days before hearing that stated that I did. So I'll reiterate and rephrase. Do you know or I know I just said that. Were you aware that I called the police that night?
I guess not, no.
Have I spoken to you since then about calling the police that night?
No.
Okay. One question would be, how then could I ask you to go along with a certain narrative if I haven't talked to you about that?
Well, you did.
Well, I'd like to know the method by which I did that if I had never talked to you about calling and speaking with the police that night.
I'm going to object to argumentative. I don't think that whether or not he called the police and spoke to the police and then told Alyssa about it is I guess essential to any conversation he may have had with her about taking the blame.
At best, it'd be speculation. She said that she didn't know that you called the police. And she said you haven't told her that you called the police. So we've answered those questions. We don't have to keep beating dead horse.
Okay, well, yeah, but she testified that she went along with the narrative that I gave her, and I'm trying to specify the time at which I gave her this narrative.
Well, ask that question then.
Okay, when did I tell you to go along with whatever narrative you previously spoke of?
To be exact, my kids was taken December 13th, December 16th, December 17th of 2023.
Okay, it was. Do you recall that it was evident, or do you recall that it was revealed during Miss Amy Bailey's testimony that by the end of the night of December 13th, it was ascertained that you left the children knowingly at the home, and yes, just that. Did you are aware of the fact that it was revealed on that night that you admitted that you knowingly left the children at home?
No.
So, Judge, I'm not sure which exhibit that is, Miss Amy Bailey's testimony, but could we go back there to where her specific line where she said it was admitted that night by Miss Lopez that she actually did knowingly leave the children at home?
Mr. McClendon, you had the chance to have a lawyer that would know how to do that. You've declined that. So we're not
Okay,
going to go backwards. We're moving forwards.
I appreciate it. I had to ask. Well, I guess I need a second to pull that exhibit up
Take your
so I
time.
can tell it.
Your Honor, if I may, I don't believe that Ms. Bailey's, I don't believe that's in an actual exhibit. I believe that was testimony that said something similar, but not quite that, Your Honor.
I agree with you, but he wants to look at it for an exhibit. I'm giving him time to look for an exhibit.
Not if you agree with her. I mean, because you clearly shown that I was not equipped to deal with that situation. So if you agree with her, I'm agreeing with you both, and I'll move on.
Okay, thank you.
Alyssa Lopez, do you know who left the house that night first?
I believe I did.
Okay. Really awkward question. Does it matter at that point who or what narrative I told you to go with?
Say that again?
At that point, does it matter what narrative I told you to go with?
It didn't at the time, no.
Okay. All right. Now, let's move on. I do not want to make you feel uncomfortable. Are you proud of yourself?
As of today?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And you feel like it's correct to say you feel like you've made an immense progress?
Yes.
And you've given every piece of effort you have to give, correct?
Yes.
At the beginning of this, let's remember you said you believe integrity. At the beginning of this, did you care the fate of those children the night we left the home?
Yes, I did care about the fate of my kids.
Would you say that it's safe to say you care a great deal more now?
Yes.
Can I ask you without any expectations of any correct answer, why you think that is?
Well, like I've stated before, I was in a addictive state of mind, and this past year in 6 months, I have been in a sober living life, and basically put me back into reality.
Okay. Now we talked on integrity a while ago, did we not?
Yes.
How present have I actually been throughout this whole year?
What do you mean by that?
How close in proximity? How many times have I been right next to you? How many times have I helped you with anything that dealt with the kids and their furthering throughout the time of this year?
I say every other week.
Ms. Lopez, have you, before I ask that question, have you considered how much time we've actually spent together?
Mr.
Yes.
McClendon, you can't keep asking the question until you get the answer you want. She's said she's seen you every other week. That's all we need. You've asked the question, she's answered it. You'll have a
Okay,
chance. You'll
are
have
you
a
certain
chance.
that
Excuse me. You'll have a
I
chance
was,
to testify to refute that if you want, but we're not going to keep trying to get the right answer that you want.
that wasn't what I was trying to do, but I'll move on. Are you certain that that's a correct statement?
That's asking the same question. She's answered it. Excuse me. I got somebody at my front door. I need to take a quick break.
All right, I gotta figure out how to ask this.
Mr. McClendon, you have to pause. The judge stepped away for a
I'll push
second.
mute. I'll push mute. I mean, I wasn't talking to nobody but myself.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry for that. I don't need leaf filters.
Okay, Ms. Lopez, do you have any documentation that would say that's correct?
Now, what was that?
Do you have any documentation to say or prove the fact that I've spoken with you only once a week or every other week? I'm sorry, as you said.
No.
All right. If I were to show records, hypothetical situation, if I were to show records from my phone or even video, would that be a true statement?
Your Honor, I object to speculation. Ms. Lopez is not testifying as an expert witness, and hypotheticals would be speculation.
She
Sustained.
knows the information. She knows the information. I am trying to divulge whether she's perjuring herself, even accidentally.
You don't know what she knows. You're saying she knows the information. That's testimony. That's why you get to testify to refute what she's saying.
Well, Judge, with all due respect, did you sustain or overrule?
I sustained it.
Okay. Okay. Isn't it true that I've seen you more than once a week throughout the duration of this trial?
These past couple months, I can agree on that.
Well, that wasn't my question, and please remember you're under oath. Isn't it true that I've seen you more than once a week throughout the duration of this trial?
No.
Ms. Lopez, would you like to still seek the protective order against me?
If it happens to be that way so I can protect my kids, yes, I will.
No further questions.
All right. Ms. Lopez, you said you answered you didn't have documentation that you've been around him during the duration of this case. Wouldn't you say that the incident in June involving Anthony, there's police reports, wouldn't you say that's some documentation that you were around him that day?
Yes, Your Honor, but I don't have the documentation personally.
Okay. All right. All right then. Ms. Wiggins.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Lopez, you indicated that, or Taisha McClendon indicated that she now lives with you. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you entered into evidence some photographs of the 2 rooms that you have prepared for your children. Is that right?
Yes.
And you said that the house was a 3-bedroom, 1 bath.
Yes.
Where does she sleep?
Taisha,
Yes.
on an air mattress in the living room.
Okay. And do you know whether or not Taisha is a violent person?
No, she's not violent at all.
Okay, so if there was a video of her assaulting another individual, that would surprise you.
Objection, speculation on the last question. I was not able to unmute.
You're objecting because you didn't unmute? I don't understand what you're
No,
objecting.
I'm objecting to her last question over on the grounds of speculation. She
No.
asked if she knew if Taisha was a violent person or not.
I don't, that's not speculation. She's asking her if she knows.
It would ask Taisha to speculate. Or Alyssa, I'm sorry. It would ask Miss Alyssa to speculate whether Taisha is or isn't.
No, sir. The question is, do you know that she's violent? She either knows or she can say, I don't know that she's violent.
Yes, sir.
She can say,
Yes,
I
sir.
know
My
she's
apologies.
not violent.
My apologies.
So would it,
Ask your question again, Ms.
so would
Wiggins.
it surprise you if there was a video of Taisha McClendon assaulting another person?
Well, I'm unaware of the video.
Okay, but would it surprise you given that you do not feel like she's a violent person?
Yes.
Now, if there was a video or you had evidence presented to you that she was a violent person, do you believe that she would still be appropriate to care for your children?
Objection, leading.
I can lead on cross.
Yeah, Mr. McClendon, you can only not lead if it's your witness. If you're cross-examining, you can lead all day long.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, can you ask that again, please?
Yes, if it was shown to you that she is a violent person, would you still believe that she's appropriate to watch your children?
No.
Okay. Now, you indicated that you have been around Mr. McClendon about every other week for the case. Is that correct?
Yes.
And do you remember talking to an investigator that opened a case when Rain was born?
Yes.
And do you remember telling them that you would not be around and would not allow your child to be around Mr. McClendon?
Yes, that was at the first investigation.
Okay, that was in February of 2025, is that right?
Yes.
And since then, we have evidence presented that you've seen him at least 4 times since then.
Objection, I'd like to know the relevance when it's already been ascertained that I have full rights to be around my child, Rain.
I'm asking about her being around Mr. McClendon.
Yeah. Overruled. You can answer, Ms. Lopez.
Okay, now can you ask that again?
Yes. So since you had that conversation February of 2025, and you indicated that
Objection. Relevance on the grounds that there is no documentation that says she cannot be legally around me.
Overruled. Go on with your question, Ms. Wiggins.
Now, February 2025, you indicated that you would not allow yourself or your child to be around Mr. McClendon, correct?
Yes.
And since that time, we have evidence that at least on 4 occasions, you have been around Mr. McClendon, and so has your child.
Not my child, no.
Okay, so June 3rd, 2025, we indicated that you allowed Mr. McClendon to have contact with Rain at his house. Is that right?
Yes.
And then were you present during the testimony of Mr. McClendon, Anthony McClendon, the father? Is his name Anthony? I'm sorry. Thomas. I apologize. Thomas. Were you present during his testimony?
Yes, but that was after the second investigation that she started coming around.
Okay. So I'm just asking. So on June 8th, 2025, when he said that you brought the child and Mr. McClendon was with you, and so was Taisha, and you visited at his house, is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't hear the answer.
Yes.
Now, you were asked by Ms. Gutierrez if Mr. McClendon ever assaulted you, and you answered yes. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Was that on one occasion or multiple occasions?
There's multiple.
And do you remember the testimony of the officer going through the IPV report where it asked you some questions about risk assessment?
Yes.
Okay. And are those answers that you gave that night true? Oh, we lost her.
Yeah, we lost her. Let's wait till she comes back.
Hello?
Okay, I think she's back,
She's
Judge.
back.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'll ask my last question. Were the answers that you gave on that risk assessment to the officer true?
I honestly don't recall that night as I was intoxicated.
Okay. If I ask you the questions, let's see. So I believe some of the questions were, we already talked about he's assaulted you that night. Is that correct?
If that's what the report says, I mean, to be honest, I don't recall that night.
You don't recall him assaulting you.
No, as I was intoxicated, I really don't recall the whole night.
Okay. Did you have physical injuries on yourself?
I believe I did. I'm not sure.
Okay. And on that form also you indicated that as you testified to, he assaulted you on more than one occasion. Is that right?
Yes.
And that he had previously threatened to kill you.
I'm unsure. I didn't look at that report.
Okay, I'm asking you now, has he threatened to kill you before?
Like before this trial or after this
Yeah,
trial?
in any time in the past.
Yes, on one occasion he has stated that.
Has he ever showed or used a gun or threatened you with a weapon?
No.
Has he ever choked you?
Twice.
Okay. And did you ever lose consciousness during that?
No.
Did he ever threaten to kill himself?
One time when he was drunk, yes.
Okay. Has he ever used the children to get you to meet up with him when you didn't want to?
No.
So he's never had the children and say, I'm not going to give you the children back unless you come here?
Well, yeah, he would keep my kids so I can't see him, and then I would have to go over there.
Okay. Now, in regards to your counseling with Mr. Jennings, do you recall his testimony?
Yes.
And he indicated that he informed you that potentially maintaining a relationship with Mr. McClendon without him doing services could be detrimental to you.
Well, that is not how he put it, but yes.
Okay. And are you aware that Mr. McClendon has not completed his services?
No, I was unaware of that.
You've been present during the permanency hearings, is that correct?
Yes.
And so did you pay attention when it was testified to the status of Mr. McClendon's services?
No, because I could care less about what he does.
Even though you're around him and your child is around him?
Well, my child is something different. That's why he's having supervised visitations with her.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right. Ms. Lopez, the night you filled out the risk assessment, you thought
Yes,
you
sir.
had injuries to you that night, correct?
Can you ask that again?
The night that you filled out the risk assessment that Ms. Wiggins just talked about,
Mhm.
she asked you if you had injuries. You said you think you did.
Yes, I believe I did. I'm not sure. I was drunk that night, and I really don't
All
recall
right,
it.
but there was an altercation between you and Mr. McClendon that night, correct? That's how the police got involved. That's why you had to fill out a risk assessment.
Yes, we were arguing about him not letting me see my children.
And were the children present that evening?
They were inside his home.
But well, you were all together. Obviously, you were talking, and he assaulted you. So were the children present that evening of that assault?
No, I never got to see my children. He had me outside.
The reason you went over there was to see the children, right?
Yeah, but he wouldn't let me in to see my children.
And you were intoxicated that night.
Yes, sir.
So you went over there to see your kids when you were intoxicated.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. All right. Ms. Kincaid, we're back. I'm sorry. Yeah, we're back to you. You have further questions?
Yes, Your Honor. Just to clarify on the visitation, there was an initial CPI investigation in February shortly after Rain was born. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that's whenever you indicated that you wouldn't allow Mr. McClendon to see the kids. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. But there was a subsequent CPI investigation after that.
Yes.
Okay. And what was the result of that investigation to your understanding?
Jonathan is not allowed to have contact with my daughter by himself. He would have to be supervised. If unsupervised, they will take her from me.
And that's your understanding of the close of the second CPI investigation. Is that correct?
Yes.
And is that the reason that you take Rain over there for visitations?
Yes.
And it's your understanding that Taisha, Miss McClendon, is also allowed to supervise those visits.
Yes.
Is there anyone else that is allowed to supervise those visits that you know of?
No.
Okay. Now, there was some discussion that you were requesting a protective order at some point this spring. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what steps did you take to attempt to get a protective order?
I went to the annex building, Randall County Annex building. They told me to go online, fill out a report. As I did such, I was on the website. It says I could not fill out a protective order due to the grounds that I have a open CPS case.
Okay. And should this court order that Mr. McClendon is to have no contact with the children whatsoever, would you follow that order?
Definitely will.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
All right. Ms. Gutierrez.
I have no questions, Your Honor.
All right,
Pass the witness.
Mr. McClendon, any further questions?
Yes, sir. Miss Lopez, you testified that I assaulted you on multiple occasions, right?
I did.
That I even used your children as leverage to get my way with you, right?
I did not say that.
Okay. Just previously, about 3 minutes, you did not say that I would tell you you could not see the kids unless I got a certain response out of you.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to argumentative. I don't believe that those two questions match.
Overruled. I mean, I know what I heard.
Now, can you ask that again?
Did you not say maybe 3 to 5 minutes ago that I did you not testify to the fact that I would not allow you to see your kids and utilize that as leverage against you?
I didn't realize you were utilizing it as leverage against me.
Okay, I apologize. I guess I should have asked that. And also, were you drunk more or inebriated? I'm sorry. Were you inebriated more than not in that time period?
Yes, I was an addict.
Okay. So another question. You remember the times that I assaulted you?
No, I cannot recall all of them.
Do you remember any of the times I assaulted you?
I do recall one of them, yes.
Could you briefly give some details about that situation?
Well, it started as an argument. You were trying to leave. I started antagonizing you, and you turned around and slapped me in my face.
Okay. That was not very good, correct?
What was not good?
That I slapped you.
Oh, no.
Okay, Miss Lopez, if these things are all true, and I'm not going to say that they're not, I'm going to admit to all of them. My next question is, why then will you not separate yourself from me completely?
Well, if the way I look at it is you are my children's father. And if you want nothing to do with our children, I would ask that you just give your rights away and be a lost cause, that you just leave us alone.
No, no, no. I asked if all of these things you alleged, me assaulting you and the works, if they are true, why won't you separate yourself from me completely at that point?
Well, I'm saying we have children together. There's going to have to be some type of communication or co-parenting relationship in order for you to contact your children. They are not teenagers and are able to contact you themselves. So
You,
what I'm getting at is, if you want no contact with your children, then I mean your rights could, be given up, or whatever the case may be.
Miss Lopez, in order for me to see my children, do you have to be present?
As far as with my baby, I don't. Your sister can handle that.
So, is it safe to say that we don't have to have any contact at all at this point?
Yes.
Okay, so then, Miss Lopez, why do we have contact as of yesterday?
Objection, Your Honor, asked and answered.
Sustained.
Would you like to remain having contact with me in lieu of that information that you don't have to?
I mean, I would want to, because you are my children's father, but if it's going to cause a unsafe environment or a unhealthy relationship and environment for my children, then no.
Ms. Lopez, did you just, I don't know, seconds ago or minutes ago, did you not just testify to the fact that I have provided and continue to provide an unsafe environment for your children?
Objection, I don't think she testified to that.
I don't either. Sustained.
Okay, Miss McClendon or Miss Lopez, would you say that me assaulting you would be providing an unsafe environment for the children?
Yes.
Would you say that me, maybe during a visit or a time I have with them, barring their communication with you or keeping them from you, would you say that that's also inciting a dangerous environment or at least a neglectful environment for the children?
Okay, can you repeat that?
Okay. In the event that I see the children on a monitored or unmonitored, in an unmonitored fashion, me holding them from you, would that not provide a dangerous situation for the children, keeping them from returning to you?
On what grounds? Like, what are you trying to say?
Well, if I never let them return to you and it's already been ascertained that I am providing a dangerous environment for them, would that be a dangerous situation?
Yes.
So it's safe to say that I shouldn't have supervised visitation, even if it were with someone like Taisha?
Well, I'm not saying you're not a good father.
Can you explain the ways you the things that indicate to you I'm a good father?
Well, with my child now that I'm giving you access to supervised, you've bought her diapers, you've bought her wipes, you spend time with her. You were the one to give her her first bites of her food from her cans. You get her formula when needed. You buy her extra stuff. You just bought her a teether the other day. Um, she seems to be happy when she sees you. Um, yeah.
Um, Now, can you indicate or can you tell me if you have any ways that you see I have poor fathering skills?
It disturbed me when my now 6-year-old has addressed it to the department that you had punched him in his stomach. That was something that disturbed me.
And so it's safe to say you were unaware of this previous to this testimony.
I was aware of it when Nerthy had asked me about it, and I told her I had no knowledge of what you did to Jolise.
And so it didn't surprise you when Nerthy informed you?
Oh, it did.
Okay. You've been dealing with me at least every other week, according to your testimony. Have you seen enough progress out of me that would merit me having rights to my children?
I can say something, but then it wouldn't be honestly be up to me. It would be up to whether the department and judge give you, not me.
I'm just questioning what you see. Have you seen enough progress that if you were to be given that eligibility, have you seen enough progress that you think?
The progress I've seen is,
I was just going to say, I'm not sure I understand the question. So
Do you understand the question, Ms. Lopez?
You're asking what progress I've seen out of you since they've taken my kids?
Excuse
Yes.
me, let me interrupt for a minute. It was just pointed out to me again, Mr. McClendon, you need to turn your camera on. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, Ms. Lopez, I'm saying, do you think there's enough progress from your observation that would merit me the right to remain around my children?
Okay, so like I said, I can't say whether or not they are going to grant you to remain around your children, but what I can say is you are not physically you don't have physical anger anymore. You tend to walk away from things. You're not argumentative with some situations. And you are willing to provide necessities for my daughter, our daughter, when needed.
Ms. Lopez, do you know who Rain's father is? Definitely.
I do not.
As of such, regardless of the progress you've seen, if it should be that I'm not her father, am I even fit to be around her?
You're fit to be around her, but we would have to get a DNA test to prove you're not.
Do you believe I've always been fit to be around my children?
Like my boys?
Yes.
Like I said before, I'm not saying or trying to state you are a bad father.
That's a yes or no question. Do you believe I've always been fit to be around my children, the boys?
Yes.
What's your understanding of why I can't be around my children?
Well, you have not done your classes, but the priority of it is because of the domestic violence, the drug use, and the stability.
Would you say that I have stable living?
Since I've been around, yeah.
About how long have you been around me?
For 4 months.
Okay, let me rephrase my question. About how long have you been in contact with me throughout our relationship.
Okay, rephrase that.
How long have we been either together or friends?
Well, I've known you going on 10 years.
How much of that time approximately have you spent with me?
This is vague. I don't know.
It's
Relevant. I don't
speculation. I
know.
mean, I don't think she keeps a calendar on how many hours she's around you versus not around you. So no, I'm not going to make you answer that question, Ms. Lopez. It'd be
Well, Judge,
speculation.
that's what I was trying to prove, Judge.
Trying to prove it'd be speculation. Thank you. I agree with you.
No. Trying to prove that she doesn't actually know how long or how much time she's been spending around me to ascertain merit of any kind, whether I should be around the children or I'm a good father or not. According to her own testimony, she doesn't even know that.
Okay, I'll take that as her answer. She doesn't know, and you understand you're making admissions right here through you asking her questions.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
Miss Lopez, you understand that I don't think I'm fit to be around those children right now, right?
Yes, I agree with that.
And did you understand that that's what I was trying to prove with my line of questioning?
No.
Okay. So I'll continue. May I?
You can ask your next question, sure.
If the judge should allow me to keep my rights, are you going to bring the children to me immediately when you get them?
No, I feel like I need to spend time with my children.
About how long, if he allows me to keep my rights, do you think it'll be before you bring me the children?
Objection, speculation.
Just saying that depends on a ton of factors.
Would you set a goal for yourself as to a time period in which you will allow me to see the children after I remain with my rights?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
What would you expect of me before I'd have the right to see my children again?
I would expect from you to at least get those 3 classes done that the judge was asking and to stop smoking marijuana.
Do you think I would ever do those things on a court order?
I know you won't.
Do you think I would do those things if the court would leave themselves completely out of it?
Speculation, Your Honor. Objection.
But she was allowed to speculate for the court.
Overruled. I'm gonna let him go ahead.
I believe you would have if the courts weren't involved, but it came to this, so.
All right. Do you believe that if the judge will allow me to remain with my rights and leave himself completely out of this, that I will go enroll and complete those classes?
Your Honor, I object to speculation.
Yeah, I could let this go on all day. You could sustain.
Do you, in the event that the judge lets me keep my rights, do you, oh man, that just destroyed it. Oh, that was good. Are you asking that the judge remove my rights?
I don't want your rights to be taken because you are the father, but you've shown no progress. So it's not up to me again. It's up to the department and the judge.
Are you asking that the judge show me a little consideration toward, that's not what I'm trying to say. Are you asking that the judge give me a chance to show this progress outside of court orders?
I can ask all day, but I doubt that will happen.
I'm saying that, is that what you're asking the judge to do?
To give you a chance?
To complete these services outside of a court order. Are you asking that the judge give me that opportunity?
I'm unsure of what you're trying to tell me.
Would you like the judge to give me an opportunity to complete these courses outside of his court order, like just on my own volition?
Objection, Your Honor. Asked and answered, and she said she doesn't know.
Sustain.
Hmm. Do you know anything that would immediately help me understand whether I should be expecting to complete these courses or have no rights?
Objection. I don't know what that question was, Your Honor.
I know it involves speculation because he's asking if she knows what he knows. So sustained.
Oh, I didn't ask.
You asked if she knows what you're thinking. That's what you asked, Mr. McClendon.
Well, that ain't what I asked, Your Honor.
Move on. Don't tell me what you don't tell me. You just move on. I sustain the objection.
You want me to complete those courses?
I do.
So, are you asking me to complete those courses on a court order?
That's been asked and answered several times.
I didn't ask that.
Don't answer that, Ms. Lopez. Next question.
Do you want me to see my kids again, Alyssa?
I want you to have the opportunity, yeah. You're the father.
Do you want me to do that in your presence?
What do you mean by that?
Do you want to be around when I see my children again?
Like to supervise you or what are
I'm
you
not
saying?
asking any specifics. Do you want to be around when I see my children again?
I would want to be around to see the look on their face. Yeah, because they ask about you all the time.
How do you hope, in the event that there's a monitored period of time after the return of your children, how do you hope to prove to the court that you're being truthful about remaining away from me?
What do you mean by that?
Like, how are you going to tell them that you're being truthful about staying away from me? I'm already questioning the fact that we see each other more than you've alluded to the court. So how do you plan on proving to them that you are not going to see me more than you're saying you are going to see me?
Well, like I stated before, I've been trying to get a protective order.
Okay, it's common knowledge that as long as this case is open, you can't get that protective order, right?
Yes.
Okay, so when the judge closes this case, are you going to obtain that protective order?
Yes.
No further questions.
Ms. Wiggins.
No questions.
All right. Ms. Lopez, I want to be sure you understood what you answered before. You answered that, well, you didn't answer even though he's assaulted you on multiple occasions, but that's been established and you remember some you don't. But you said he's always been fit to be around your boys. Do you stand by that? A man that has assaulted you on multiple occasions, sometimes with the children there, do you stand by that statement?
Well, Your Honor, there's days that he's assaulted me and my kids were unaware of the assault.
There's days they assaulted you when they were. Do you still stand by that statement that he's fit, always been fit to be around your boys?
No.
All right. Anyone have further questions for Ms. Lopez? Nope. Okay. All right, Ms. Kincaid, do you have any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor, I rest.
All right. Let's take about a 5 to 10 minute break, and then it will be Mr. McClendon's chance to call witnesses or testify. So we'll be back shortly. All right, we'll get started as soon as everyone's back. Okay, I think we're all back. All right, Mr. McClendon, do you have any witnesses to call or do you wish to testify?
I wish to do both. I'd like to call myself to be scrutinized after I testify.
Okay, I'm not sure what that means, but okay.
Like, I like to call myself as a witness for anybody who might have questions, but I want to testify.
Well, once you testify, they'll get their chance to cross-examine you. So, all right, then if
Yes,
you
sir.
raise your right hand, do you swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, thank you. All right, you may go ahead.
Judge, I'd ask the court to notice that I did raise the right hand.
Okay, thank you.
I met Alyssa Lopez sometime 2017. Okay. I met her at my brother's house. Miss Alyssa Lopez was very well put together for a person of her age and the situation, the circumstance she was in. To me, I believed at that time that circumstance to be homeless and being helped out by my brother.
All irrelevant.
I'm sorry.
I object to all of this as irrelevant.
Well, no, I'm going to give him free reign. Go ahead, Mr. McClendon.
I immediately asked who Miss Alyssa Lopez was and was informed and began a short acquaintance with Miss Lopez. I was unaware that Miss Lopez was already acquainted with my sister Taisha McClendon. And shortly after, there were a few issues amongst them, Taisha and Alyssa blessed me with her presence down at my house, a block or two away. Alyssa and I have been somewhat entangled, if you will, ever since then. I met Alyssa's parents. I engaged them in the most respectful manner that I was taught how. I asked for her presence to remain and become a permanent thing. Alyssa and I then began a grown-up relationship and had children, our first child being Jolise. From the time Jolise was born, I knew that my resentments would get me in trouble. I mean to show the courts today that I am not at this moment, by my own volition and understanding, fully mentally fortified to be around my children. I mean to show the courts that it is a very easy journey and I can fortify myself very quickly, but I have only to take that step and I have refused to do so up until now. Let me give you a little background on our relationship. By the time I believe Alyssa and I conceived Jolise, I started to become very, very jealous. You must realize my mother, this is also background information, was a crackhead for 16 years of my life. And very unpresent. And very willing but unable to give me anything. And so when Alyssa was able to give me the life that I was given from my mother, there was this thing that happened in my head and I immediately recognized the resentments. And the relationship became, as Alyssa Lopez stated, very toxic, very quickly. Starting out with jealousy from other guys. Are you talking to other guys? Why are you in the vicinity of other guys? She shouldn't even been in the vicinity of me. She shouldn't have been in my proximity. That's how I was. Shortly, 6 months after Jolise was born, we were doing the changing of toys between her friends and mine. And I got into an altercation with one of her friends that given my son a toy at his young age and asked for the toy back. When he asked for the toy back, I went to his house and I attacked him. Looking back in retrospect on this circumstance, the altercation happened because I pulled up to their house yelling for Alyssa as if I could control every move she made. And the guy, whoever he was, decided to protect her essence like I should have been doing. And so we fought. This was the first incident. And when I struck Alyssa, this was the first incident. The next day we talked about this, what was happening, why she was in the room, yada, yada, yada. We became frustrated and I became even more than frustrated. I became violent. I hit Alyssa. I asked Alyssa to apologize or to forgive me. I'm sorry. I apologized and asked Alyssa to forgive me. My mother then went on to tell Alyssa if he does it once and expects an apology to cover it, he's going to do it again. And I promised that it wouldn't happen again. And I'm pretty sure, to make a long story short, everyone knows it did. Up until that point, I couldn't tell you why. But I can tell you today, it's because of the reasons I'm not fit to be around my son. Even to this day, I still associate the first time I hit Alyssa with hitting my mother. I've never wanted to do that. But there is this lash out thing in me. I don't know, that shows up involuntarily sometimes, unconsciously to me. And Alyssa's the only person that can point it out and make me recognize it. So if I had to ask and answer a question that I asked her a while ago, why, if we are so toxic, I will not separate myself from this person completely? It's because this person reflects me accurately. It isn't until I am committing these actions or being reflected on these actions by Alyssa Lopez that I'm even aware they are occurring. And so this is for the reason that I believe there is no way I should keep my rights today. I should go and do outside, and I'm asking the court to recognize that outside of a court order, I should go and do what I need to do or never be allowed to see my children again. But what I will do before I ask the court to strip me of my rights today is tell the 100% truth. And I have been with Miss Alyssa Lopez for most every single day outside days we thought it would get us in trouble throughout the entirety of this case. Now, let me give you a reason why. It was not on her volition. Alyssa tried everything she could possibly do to get away from me. Every law enforcement agency she could call, she called them on me. Every report she could make, she tried to get me indicted with, for it was the best thing for her children. I will iterate to the court this. I thought I was too smart, and I proved myself to be such, but that is not a positive thing. I am standing here in the court not even knowing I was going to ask that my own rights be stripped away because of reflection on the things I have heard this young lady do. Alyssa is the star of this courtroom. And I would ask that I not be allowed any verbal contact to her. I would ask that I be allowed to lay this opportunity on the table and first then prove that I can complete such a task before I am ever allowed in the same, 3,000 yards as my children. Because I watched this lady come from concrete, dirt, and gravel and turn into the world's largest rose. I've watched this lady be intimidated and confused by me, St. Francis, and CPI. And I've watched her struggle to prevail through it all. This woman deserves her children like I never have. And that's my testimony.
All right. All right, then, Ms. Gutierrez, questions?
Yes, Your Honor. I have some brief questions. Mr. McClendon, you admitted to having hit Alyssa. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you admit to having choked her in the past?
Yes, ma'am.
Through your line of questioning with Alyssa, it sounded like you were with her yesterday on June 12th of 2025. Is that correct?
Briefly, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And when was the last time you smoked marijuana?
The last time I had the undocumented negative urine analysis.
Did you threaten to kill Anthony Cunningham?
No, I threatened to bust his head.
Just a moment, Your Honor. Let me get a timestamp. Okay, I don't have the timestamp on that one, Your Honor, but I do ask the court to review Exhibit 19B, again, James Michael Tipton's camera footage of that day.
Okay.
And I pass the witness.
All right. Ms. Kincaid?
Thank you, Your Honor. If this court orders that you have no contact with Ms. Lopez or the children, would you follow that court order?
Precisely.
I'll pass witness.
Okay. Ms. Wiggins?
Why would you comply with the court order when you basically said you won't do anything the court has ordered you in this case?
Except for that. And I never had a chance to iterate on that at all, whether I would do that portion.
So you weren't present at all during any of the other hearings?
No, no one ever given me the opportunity to say, hey, at this point, is this a court order that you will follow? Until now.
All right, I'll pass the witness.
All right. Mr. McClendon, is there anything else you want to add?
I want to add that is my more than, and with all due respect, more than request but demand. I have to do this on my own to show my children. I own no obligation to show any of you anything. And I don't owe you guys any proof of anything I will do for my children. I am requesting to be allowed to do this for my children by myself, or I am stating for the court so they can deem necessary to do with me what they will, that I am not going to do any of it unless I'm allowed to do it by myself for them to see and only for them to see.
Okay. All right. Anybody have follow-ups for Mr. McClendon?
No follow-ups, Your Honor. I do have a rebuttal witness.
Okay. Mr. McClendon, did you have any other witnesses you want to call other than yourself?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ms. Gutierrez, your rebuttal witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. I begin by asking the court to take judicial notice of the case State versus Tienda, which discusses rules of evidence 104 and 901.
The one that you provided me before we started the case?
I sent that over today. I believe I have
Oh.
sent it to the court on other occasions.
Let me pull what I have.
Can you spell the name for me, Teresa?
State versus Tienda, Tienda.
Give me just a second. I've got to find it here.
That's fine, Your Honor. I need to reopen mine as well.
Okay. Okay, I have the email that Ms. Gutierrez sent today at 12:47. For the record, it's now 1:20. I'm not going to take the time to read it, but I have received it. So
Thank you,
Okay.
Your Honor. The department calls Nerdy. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. I'm just waiting.
The department calls Nerdy Agraini as its rebuttal witness.
Okay. All right, Ms. Gutierrez.
Thank you, Your Honor. Nerdy, are you familiar with what Jonathan McClendon looks like?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you seen him multiple times?
Yes.
And you are familiar that he has a sister named Taisha, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is her full name?
Taisha Notoya McClendon.
And you have seen her in person as well, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And she has also testified in this hearing as a witness, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Prior to the hearing, did you meet her in person?
Yes, ma'am.
Where and when did that occur?
I met her on May 30th, 2025 at Magnolia home.
And was that Alyssa's home?
Yes.
And was Alyssa present as well?
Yes, ma'am.
What was Taisha's demeanor towards you, Nerdy?
She was unfriendly and seems frustrated. She talks with the agitated tone to me.
Did she yell at you?
Yes, ma'am.
And was that multiple times?
Yes.
Were you concerned for your safety?
Yes, ma'am.
And this is the person Alyssa has proposed as her support if the children are returned on a monitored return. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, having seen her in person and her testifying, then you are familiar with what Taisha looks like. Would you agree?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Have you reviewed a Facebook page of Jonathan McClendon?
Yes, ma'am.
Does it have his name and photograph?
Correct.
Other than his name on the picture, what else is on that page to make you believe it belongs to Jonathan McClendon?
That he lives in Amarillo and he's from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Does
And
it also tag other family members in some of his posts?
yes, ma'am.
And does that include Taisha?
Yes, ma'am.
And are there other videos of him and even one with his voice?
Yes, ma'am.
And in one video, did it tag Taisha?
Yes, ma'am.
And did it also reference Anthony Cunningham on the actual video?
Correct.
When did you find this video posted on Jonathan McClendon's Facebook page?
It was on Wednesday afternoon.
And was that June 11th of 2025?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, in that video, does the caption read, quote, "I wish someone had recorded Anthony Cunningham's titties doing me exactly the same way Taisha does this lady for stealing my cat and disrespecting my daughter's home," unquote.
Yes.
Objection.
Yes, ma'am.
Basis?
Yeah, of relevance and the fact that this video in question is a privatized and archived video. So I'm not, and it's from about, I don't know, 8 years ago. So I'm wondering how anybody pulled it out of my archive.
Overruled. Go ahead, Ms. Gutierrez.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, would you agree that this appears to reference Jonathan McClendon's physical altercation with Anthony Cunningham?
Objection, speculation.
To ask the question again, Ms. Gutierrez, that you said it appears to.
Oh, yes.
Rephrase.
Nerdy, is this a reference to Jonathan McClendon's physical alteration with Anthony Cunningham?
Objection, speculative.
Overruled.
Please answer, Nerdy.
Yes.
And do you recall that that altercation just happened on June 3rd of 2025?
Yes.
Did you take a screen recording of this video on your cell phone?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you familiar with how screen recording works?
Yes.
Can you briefly explain to the court how that works?
There is the app on my phone. Then so I went to his page and then started recording it.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And have you reviewed the video, the screen recording that is now Exhibit 34?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this a fair and accurate depiction of the video you saw on Mr. McClendon's page that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I offer petitioner's Exhibit number 34 as evidence.
All right, objections?
Your Honor, I have a few questions on for Dyer, if I may.
I'm sorry, what?
I have a few questions, if I may.
Okay. Sure.
Okay, do you know who recorded this video?
Yes, ma'am.
Who recorded the video?
It was in Jonathan McClendon's.
But do you know who recorded the original video?
No.
Okay, do you know when that video was recorded?
No.
Do you know where that video was recorded?
No.
Do you know whether that video has been altered in any way?
No.
Okay, is there music in the background of the video?
Yes.
Is there writing on the video?
Yes.
Okay, so it has been altered in some ways, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and Your Honor, I object to this as not being properly authenticated. In addition, the deadline for submitting evidence was Monday and today is Friday.
Right. I'm going to sustain the objection.
And Your Honor, may I respond?
Yeah, you can make your record.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make an offer of proof that the proposed exhibit number 34 shows Taisha beating an unidentified person and that she repeatedly kicks and punches that person until they fall to the floor and then continues to do so.
Okay. All right. And so the record's clear. This is the one that was just delivered, I guess, to my office yesterday afternoon sometime.
Yes, Your Honor. Nerdy found this video on June 11th of 2025, which was after the hearing that day. So we've had it only in our possession for a very short time. It has since been removed. Well, I can ask Nerdy that question, but we believe it's since been
That's right. I just want to put on the record that I haven't been to my office since I understand from security it was delivered. So obviously I have not seen the exhibit 34, and so I haven't viewed it in any manner. So.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Uh-huh.
Now, Nerdy, that video isn't in evidence, but you have viewed that video, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And does it show Taisha McClendon repeatedly hitting and punching someone?
Yes.
Nerdy, are you concerned with the appropriateness of Taisha McClendon as a potential caregiver for the children?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that also compounded by her hostility towards you when you met her?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you also concerned with, at some point during Alyssa's testimony, she discussed Taisha possibly supervising Jonathan's visitation?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you concerned with the prospect of Alyssa possibly supervising Jonathan's visitation?
Yes.
Would you agree at some points that, or at least at one point, there has been evidence that Miss Alyssa Lopez has not been honest with the court?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you still believe that Alyssa McClendon's parental rights should be terminated?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you please, without mentioning the child, Rain, who is not a part of this case, tell us why?
So given the history and then given the repeating pattern, for safety.
Does it concern you? Thank you.
Yeah, Alyssa could not provide safety towards the children.
Does it concern you that she was with not Mr. McClendon, according to him, just yesterday?
Yes, ma'am.
Pass the witness.
All right. Ms. Kincaid, questions?
Briefly, Your Honor. Ms. Angriani, if Alyssa were not in contact with Mr. McClendon, would your concerns be alleviated?
And Your Honor, I'm going to object to speculation.
Overruled. Overruled. You can answer.
I have a concern. Can you please repeat again one more time?
If Ms. Lopez were not to have any contact with Mr. McClendon, would your concerns be alleviated?
No.
Okay, what other concerns do you have?
Physical abuse towards Miss Alyssa. That's what I concerned about.
Okay, so if Mr. McClendon were not ever around her, then that concern would be alleviated.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to speculation.
Sustain.
Mr. McClendon couldn't assault Miss Lopez if he were not physically present. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. I'll pass it.
All right. Mr. McClendon, questions?
Yes, Miss Angrani, do you particularly favor me in any manner? Do you like me? Okay. What are the reasons that you don't like me?
No, there were two questions. I'm sorry. Is that for the first question or the second one, sir?
That's my second question.
Judge, I'm going to object. He said, do you favor me? And then he said, do you like me? And she answered the first
Okay,
question.
it's the same thing. The same
No, it's
thing.
not.
So
Let's break them into two questions.
okay, so answer the second one.
Which was?
Do you like me?
Yeah. I don't know how to say that, sir. I'm sorry.
Do you agree with me as a person?
Agreeing to what, sir?
I'm not sure what you're asking. I think she would agree you're a person. I don't know.
Generally.
I'm not sure.
Generally, do you agree with my behaviors? Do you agree with my demeanor or my attitude?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you believe that a caseworker should be unbiased?
Yes.
Can you tell me some of the reasons you don't agree with my demeanor?
You did not do court order services that you are supposed to do for your kids. And then you think that it's your rights for not doing that. But I don't think that you think about your kids for not doing that.
Do you personally believe that I should do that for my children or because the courts ordered it?
It's both ways.
Do you believe it matters that I don't agree I should do it for the court?
I don't think so.
Okay. Are you aware of my rights?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to vague. Everybody has a number of rights.
Correct. Sustain.
Okay. Are you aware of any of the rights I possess as an American citizen?
Same objection, Your Honor, vagueness.
Sustain. Way too vague to have an answer.
Okay. Can you name a few of the rights I have in this case?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to relevance. I'm not sure what rights he's referring to still.
Sustain. If you want to tie it to something that has to do with this case, then tell her what rights you're talking about.
The rights I thought we were discussing stripping me of today. Those rights. Do you even know what those rights are, Miss Granny?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to vagueness.
Sustain. I don't know what rights he's talking about either, Ms. Gutierrez.
Your Honor, I object to this line of questioning unless Mr. McClendon is going to get very specific as to what rights he's talking about.
Mr. McClendon, unless you can lay a predicate for why you're asking that, I'm going to sustain that objection.
Again, the rights that I have right now to be in the vicinity of my children as they have not been stripped of me yet. Those rights. Does she know how to iterate specifically what those rights are?
Mr. McClendon, I'll correct you. There's a current order by this court that you have no visitation with your children, which means no contact with your children. That's in effect as we speak right now.
Okay, do I need to clarify like my parental rights? I mean, the rights, I did say the rights that haven't been stripped from me. And those would be the parental rights.
Excuse me, that right of having contact with your children for now has been stripped.
Oh, okay, so I should say permanently stripped. That's it. That is a temporary thing, right, Judge?
Yes, sir. It's a temporary order till the ruling comes after this final hearing.
Okay, do you know what permanent rights I still retain, Nerthy?
Your Honor, I'm going to object as it's requesting a legal conclusion.
I'm going to sustain it because we could spend 2 hours her coming up with rights you have.
Yes, sir. I'll spend a long time.
You're going to have to be much more specific, or I'm going to rule it's too vague to be properly answered.
I'll move on. Have you ever corroborated any of the allegations against me in this case, according to your petition?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to relevance at this time. He has admitted multiple of these allegations in his own testimony.
Well, but I can go back and find it, but that's been asked and answered when Nerdy was testifying the first time. I know it was. So that's been asked and answered. So let's move on to your next question.
Could I ask you to reiterate what your answer was? Could I do that? For clarification?
Ask your next question if that's it. Sure.
Yeah, can you reiterate what your answer was?
About what, sir?
I'll phrase this properly. Have you ever, I asked you previously, had you ever corroborated any of the allegations against me in your petition? Can you reiterate what your answer was?
No, sir, because that's CPI.
Okay. So then other than that, can I ask you again what your concerns are in the domestic violence area for Alyssa and I furthering out, like from here on out?
I'm going to object as asked and answered.
Yeah, Ms. Nerdy, you can briefly summarize what you've testified to several times. What concerns do you have about the domestic violence between Mr. McClendon and Ms. Lopez? What concerns that concerning the children? What concerns do you have?
That he got abused, Ms. Lopez, several times, and they also eyewitness. The children says that they know that you abused their mom because your kids told me. That's my concern, biggest concern.
Okay, Miss Ungrani, do you have actual evidence that my kids were ever actually present when I struck Alyssa?
I think
Yes.
I think she just testified to some evidence the children told her about the domestic violence.
I would believe that would be hearing someone say this, but I said, is there any evidence that they were there when I struck Alyssa?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to form. A witness's testimony is evidence.
Sustained.
Miss Ungrani, how do you know I was around my children when I struck Alyssa?
I'm going to object to asked and answered.
Sustained.
She told me how she knew that? Oh yeah, maybe she did. Maybe she did say, okay. Could I ask you to repeat that answer, Miss Ungrani, for
No,
clarification?
sir. I've sustained, asked, and answered, so she doesn't need to repeat it.
So you have proof that the person, I'm assuming, who told you I was around, was there more persons than Jolise? I'm sorry. Was there more persons than Jolise that said I was hitting his mom in his presence?
Your kids.
Be more specific. Be specific, Nerdy. We've got 3 kids.
Jolie's and King.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Were Jolise and King able to give you dates and times of when I hit Alyssa?
No.
Were Jolise and King able to describe the place in which I hit Alyssa?
No
What?
place.
Did you
not
ask them to
describe.
do? Did you ask them to do so?
No.
Okay. Did Jolise or King tell you the frequency in which I attacked their mother?
Yes.
How frequently did they say I attacked her?
Every day.
Okay, so you testify that they said I attacked her every day. Yet a while ago you testified that they could not describe a place where I attacked her, a date or a time.
You did. They didn't tell me the place. They tell me the time. They that you had the incident with Alyssa.
Mr. Granny, you just previously testified that they were not able to describe a time or a place for you. Are you changing that testimony?
Judge, I'm going to object. There's a difference between time and frequency.
Sustained. Her testimony.
I asked both. I asked both.
Her testimony speaks for itself. I weigh the credibility of that testimony, but
I asked both specifically and separately, Your Honor.
Next question, please.
Do you know of a specific time and place that I attacked Alyssa?
No.
Do you know that Alyssa was being truthful about an attack she alleged?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to speculation.
You're asking if she knows. I don't think anybody can know who's telling the truth or not telling the truth.
So that is a yes or no question then, right?
It is to me.
Miss Angrani?
Can you please repeat?
Do you know with any certainty whether Alyssa was being truthful about an attack on her?
No.
Okay. Do you know whether Jolise was being truthful about being attacked by me?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to speculation again.
No, he's asking if she knows. Do you
I don't know.
for sure? Okay. Don't
Do
be afraid
you
to
know-
answer the question, Miss Nerdy, unless somebody objects.
Do you know whether King was telling you the truth about an assault on my part?
No.
Did you conduct any extensive investigation to gain this knowledge whether either party was being truthful about an assault on my part?
No, I'm not an investigator, sir.
Is the safety of my children a concern of yours, Nerthi?
Absolutely. Yes.
Are you their caseworker, Nerthi?
Yes.
Have you ever followed me, Nerthi?
That's been asked and answered during her last examination. You're the one that asked the question.
Okay. Have you ever called Alyssa's mother and reported my whereabouts to her?
No.
All right. So, hypothetically speaking, if Alyssa's mother were to call and say that Nerthi and Granny had informed her that I was at a certain
Objection,
hotel.
hearsay.
Yeah, we've all used some hypotheticals, so overruled.
And Your Honor, I do object to this hypothetical as well. I do object to speculation.
Overruled.
Okay. So hypothetically, if Alyssa's mother was to contact Alyssa and say that Nerthi and Granny had previously performed a phone call in which she divulged the information as to the whereabouts of Jonathan McClendon at a certain hotel in Amarillo, Texas, would that be true information?
Your Honor, I'm going to renew my objection. It sounds like this is a three-way, four-way communication. Jonathan is saying that, Nerdy called the grandma and grandma called mom, and I can only assume mom told Jonathan, according to Mr. McClendon's question.
Ms. McClendon, you're going to have to ask her what her part in this hypothetical. She can't. Ms. Gutierrez is right. She can't know the role of 3, 4 multiple people. You can ask her if she has hypothetically. Well, it's not a hypothetical. You're just going to have to. If you can't form the proper question, I'm going to sustain the objections.
Okay, hypothetically, if Alyssa's mother called.
No, I'm not. We're not. That's. You're going right into the same 4 parts.
All right.
If you want to ask her if she made a phone call or if she told something,
Well, she denied that.
Then
Well,
it's
she
been
denied
asked
that.
and answered, Mr. McClendon. That's how this works.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Have you ever called Alyssa's mother?
At the beginning of the case, yes.
Can you tell us what that call was about?
About where she lives, and that she is willing to be a placement for your kids.
And you've never had any other communication with Alyssa's mother?
No.
Have you had any communication with anyone outside of the department about me?
No.
Have you ever been asked by a supervisor while conducting a home visit to stop talking about me to Alyssa Lopez?
No.
Are you aware that there was a report stating such?
No.
Okay. Also, are you aware that I called Venice, your supervisor, and made a direct complaint concerning this report?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you want Alyssa to have her children back?
That's a tough question, but yeah.
If I could somehow, now I don't want to, I'm trying to tread lightly because I am inexperienced, but if I could somehow assure you physically and on documentation that I would be nowhere in the picture without the shadow of a doubt, would your concerns change?
Your Honor,
Object to asked and answered.
Well,
And
speculation
speculation too.
Yeah, it'd have to happen before she'd have to formulate an opinion.
Okay, let's try this one, Judge. Would you consider okay, that's hard to ask. If I sign a court order right now, if I sign a court order right now forbidding myself from even being in the state for the benefit of Jolie's King Jr. and Rain, would you allow Alyssa the opportunity, her children back?
Your Honor, objection is speculation.
Speculation and the fact that Mr. McClendon, that doesn't happen. I would never ask anyone to sign one of my court orders other than myself.
Well, I'm not sure if I confused myself in my speech. I've done it 1,000 times, but that's what I meant. If you sign that order, if I ask you to write that order, yeah, I did confuse myself in my speech. If I asked the judge to write that order and signed it in your presence, right at this second, if that was possible to do, would you consider have her the opportunity to have her children back with her?
Your Honor, again, I object to speculation.
Sustain.
What will make you consider her eligible to have her children back with no concerns from you?
I don't make that decision, sir.
What would give you incentive to make the recommendation?
The recommendation of returning the kids?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I think you heard this all the time, but like for provide stability and safety for the
Which
kids.
she's done.
To return.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to sidebar.
I'm sorry.
And it's long-term stability. Long-term provides safety, not just instant.
Okay. Do you have any knowledge that there hasn't been? Okay, sorry. Is 6 months considered long-term?
Minimum 6 months.
Okay. Is there any evidence to show that there hasn't been a minimum of a safe environment provided by Alyssa Lopez?
Nerdy, you're muted.
I'm sorry. Apologize. Can you please rephrase that, sir?
Nerdy, let me just preface that it's not your responsibility to keep up with all the testimony that's been given in this case. So you don't have to sit there and think about what you think might have been evidence of that safety. You don't have to do that.
Okay, I'll reform. Are you stating that you have not observed more than 6 months of a safe environment provided by Alyssa Lopez?
No.
You're not stating that? You haven't observed more than 6 months?
I observed more.
Okay. Go ahead.
All I heard was I observed. Y'all are talking on top of each other.
I observe.
You observed what?
I observed more than 6 months, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I asked you what your concerns were further, and you said that it would be long-term stability and safe placement. I then asked you if 6 months would suffice. You said a minimum of such. And now you said you have observed 6 months of such. So
It's
I'm
also-
asking. Go ahead.
Also, I've observed 6 months and then irregularly because I wasn't able to meet with her several months. So it's irregular of 6 months time period. Because I wasn't able to access her home. I was unable to meet with her face to face that I already talked to you about.
But we're addressing your statement on the safety, the long-term state safety, 6 months minimum of safe environment, which you
Yes.
said you observed, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and so I'm asking what your further concerns were, which you said was safety.
Mhm.
Okay, and now you say you observed that. So according to your testimony, there was no other concerns. Are you adding another concern?
Your Honor, I'm going to object. I don't think she testified that there were no other concerns.
She did. Ms. Ngraney, did you not testify to the fact that those were the only two concerns you had, were the long-term stability and long-term safe environment?
I testified for both. long-term
And
stability,
that was the total, right?
financial, yes.
Okay. So I asked that question in proper form. Are you adding any concerns?
Yes, if I able to testify more, then yeah.
What concerns are you adding?
Dishonesty,
Okay. You
and
believe,
abuse.
okay. Do you believe the abuse will continue?
I didn't hear that. And what?
Abuse.
And you have reason to believe or at least be concerned that the abuse will continue, correct?
Given the pattern and history, yes.
Matt, might I ask you if you're talking about the documented history or the corroborated history?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to forming that question and also confusion. I'm not really sure how he himself is distinguishing those two things.
I
Well,
agree. We don't know what you mean by documented or corroborated. So
Okay, the affidavits that were written against me, is that what you're considering, or the fact that they were actually confirmed allegations?
Please
Your Honor,
repeat
I'm
that.
gonna object. I mean, his own testimony, I mean, he's testified that and admitted to several of these incidents.
Not several, only two, and I never specified which ones. And those were not
Mr.
charges.
McClendon, I am through playing games.
Your Honor, those were not charges, the times I admitted to, and I've been charged for things I did not do throughout this whole case.
Mr. McClendon, I've heard plenty of evidence as to your situation with Miss Lopez. I'm the one that has to make the decision.
Which is why I'm trying to put this on your table, Judge.
Corroborated, substantiated. I weigh the evidence. So
Yes, sir. That's why I'm trying to put it on your table. Is it we talking about substantiated evidence or just allegations made against me? Because that matters.
Ask your next question.
Do you have any clue to whether I'm actually a danger to Miss Alyssa Lopez?
Sorry, please repeat, sir.
Do you have any clue to whether I'm actually a danger to Miss Alyssa Lopez?
Do I have any clue is that what you're asking?
Do you have any proof that I'm an actual danger to Miss Alyssa Lopez?
At this time, her own testimony proved the court.
Is that the only proof you have is Miss Alyssa Lopez's testimony?
At this time, yes, sir.
Didn't you just say that you have a concern for her dishonesty moving forward?
Dishonesty about your relationship with her?
You didn't specify, did you?
What can you please ask
You
me?
were not specific
specify?
about that, were you?
Dishonesty about your relationship with Miss Alyssa Lopez.
When you answered that question, were you specific about that?
No.
So you said you had a concern for her honesty moving forward. So are you saying that her testimony, witness account to you was credible?
Your Honor, I'm going to object. There's been multiple.
I'm just asking if she's saying it.
Listen, I'm going to say this again. It's my job to decide the credibility of the witnesses. I don't need her opinion as to whether she thinks it's credible, substantiated, any of that. So let's move on. Those questions are irrelevant to what has to take place in this case.
Okay. So then if you are concerned with her honesty moving forward, then can you hinge the fact that I will be violent and continue to be so on what she said?
Objection, speculation.
Sustain.
Well, okay. Do you trust that after being concerned with her honesty?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to form.
Sustain.
Simple and plain. Do you believe Alyssa Lopez?
Objection, that's not specific enough. Vagueness.
Nerdy, let me try to simplify, but that's the last time I'm gonna help him. Do you believe certain things that Ms. Lopez has testified to, and do you doubt some of the things she's testified to are truthful?
Yes.
Okay, that's as far as we're going, Mr. McClendon.
Do I have your support when I, for my children, complete my duties and obligations?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to speculation as well as
Speculation.
relevance.
Yeah. Sustain.
Will you be supportive of me in my efforts to get myself right for the court?
Nobody's going to object. I'm going to say that's speculation. You would have to prove that before she has to decide if she would support you. It would depend on what you do, and I'm not going to ask her to speculate that you'll do anything.
Are you supportive of me now, Ms. Nerthy Ungrani, in any form or fashion?
It is hard to say and answer that. I'm sorry.
That's a yes or no question. Do you support me in any way?
Yes.
In what way do you support me?
As a caseworker, I support you.
How specifically might I ask that you support me?
I'm trying to do my job, and I support you as a parent of your kids.
That's kind of vague. I want to know how, like specifically.
Judge, I'm going to object. She answered the question.
Yeah, we're not going any deeper.
What steps have you taken? Physical steps have you taken outside contacting me at a certain interval of time to overlook this family plan with me?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to asked and answered. She testified extensively under questioning the first time about those steps.
She testified to all the attempts she's made to contact you. That's her answer, so that has been asked and answered.
Well, my question was outside of her contact efforts. I said, what did she do physically to ensure that I made that family plan a possible thing?
That question couldn't be answered. I don't know what you mean by physically.
Well,
physically, she had to send you an email. Physically, she had to dial your phone number. Physically, she went to your addresses. That has been asked and answered. We're not going any deeper.
And you said you don't recall seeing the family plan that I submitted, correct?
Asked and answered. That was during her first testimony. All right, if there's no other questions, we're going to move on. All right, Ms. Wiggins, do you have any questions?
No.
All right. Anything further as Ms. Gutierrez of this witness?
Yes, Your Honor, a couple of quick questions. Nerdy,
Yes.
in general, for every case that you work, is the hope for family reunification of the children with the parents?
Yes.
Objection, speculation.
Overruled.
And if the parents make changes and demonstrate, like in this case, over 1.5 years, that those changes have been made, do you want to reunify the kids?
Yes.
Okay. And are there cases where you wish you could reunify the kids where the parents have not made those changes?
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe that that is the situation we are in for both parents?
Yes.
No further questions for this witness, Your Honor. The department re-rests at this time from rebuttal.
All right. All right. If there's no rebuttal witnesses, then we're ready. I'll ask for Ms. Wiggins' recommendation.
Your Honor, I'd like to briefly recall Ms. Lopez.
Okay. Ms. Lopez, what, you're bouncing around. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, you're still under oath, so Ms. Kincaid, you can briefly go forward.
Thank you. Ms. Lopez, you heard about the video that Ms. Angriani testified to earlier. Oh,
Yes.
and were you aware of any video recordings of that nature at all?
No.
At this time, your understanding is that CPI approved Ms. McClendon to observe visits for Mr. McClendon. Is that what you understand?
Yes.
If the department, CPI, or anyone else said Ms. McClendon, Taisha is not an appropriate supervisor for you or for him, would you be able to find someone else to support you and assist you should your children be returned to you?
Yes, I have my best friend.
Okay. Who is your best friend?
Brianna Finch.
Would she be willing to undergo a background check?
Yes.
Would she be willing to move into the home with you, or what would be, how would she support you?
Yeah, she'll move in if need to be.
Okay. And
Ms. Lopez, have you had these conversations with her about moving in with you?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure she's not just purely speculating. Go ahead, Ms. Kincaid.
and if the department or anyone else said Ms. McClendon can't be anywhere around the kids, would you follow that court order?
I would.
Thank you. I'll pass the witness.
All right, if anybody else has questions.
Very
Yeah, I
brief.
got it. Go ahead.
Ms. Lopez?
Mr. McClendon, be thinking about this now. This is a rebuttal witnesses. You are limited strictly to cross-examining her on what she just testified to. You can't go into anything about what she testified to before. We're talking only about Taisha being an appropriate supervisor or caregiver, or this other lady's name. That's the only two things you're allowed to question her about when you cross-examine her when we're through with Ms. Gutierrez. So be thinking about that and limit it.
Okay.
Same goes for everybody. The others are lawyers. They know that. All right, Ms. Gutierrez.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Lopez, are you saying that unless the department or the court comes in and says your children shouldn't be around violent people, that you don't intend to restrict that?
Well, it's already been talked about.
So unless the court says this person is dangerous, don't bring your children around them, you don't have a problem bringing your children around them.
Objection, argumentative.
Sustain.
Ask the witness.
All right.
Miss Alyssa Lopez, are you gonna make Taisha move out in the event that Brianna needs to move in?
Yes, if needed.
Objection, speculation.
Sustain.
Okay, Miss Alyssa, do you feel like it would be an okay thing to have two people sleeping on your floor?
Objection, argumentative.
Overruled.
Can you ask that again?
Do you think it would be better for your children that you have two grown adults sleeping on their living room floor?
No, I don't think that's a good idea.
How then might we alleviate that problem of two bodies being there in the home?
Objection, speculation.
Sustain.
You'd have a place for Brianna to safely, to comfortably live if she moved in with you to help with the kids?
Now, can you rephrase that?
I said, do you have a comfortable living arrangement for Miss Brianna Finch if she should move in to help you with the kids? Do you have space for her comfortably?
She would have the same
Delete
space that
this.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm objecting to it as speculation again.
Sustained.
Do you have at this moment with your current living conditions and tenants, do you have the comfortable living space for another tenant?
Same objection.
No,
I
he's asking if he has to play. No, that's not speculation. She knows what her house looks like. Maybe some
Now,
question what comfortable is, but you can answer that question, Ms. Lopez.
okay, can he ask that again?
I guess, but please listen. We don't need to
Do you-
rehash every question.
In your current condition, living condition, with your current tenants, do you have the space for another tenant to live comfortably?
Yes.
Okay. So, okay. All right. If it said that they already asked it, I gotta ask it. One last one, Judge. I'm gonna bite through it. If that's the outcome of today's hearing, if it should be deemed that neither McClendon can be around your child, are you able to prove that Brianna isn't a danger or a violent person?
What are you saying?
That's outside of scope, because if she's going to be if Brianna's going to be a caregiver, she'd have to go through background checks, and the outcome of those would probably influence Ms. Lopez's decision. So that's speculation. Those haven't been done.
Yes, sir, Your Honor. Yes, sir. That sounds like when you say that she would that would probably change her
I said
idea
it could
about
change
it.
it.
That sounds kind of speculative too, with all due respect.
Yeah, you're right.
So I have no further questions.
All right. All right. If there's nothing further,
No, Your Honor.
all right, then everybody rest.
Rest.
Arrest.
Okay.
Arrest.
All right, then. Ms. Wiggins, your recommendation.
I recommend that it's in the best interest of the children that both parental rights be terminated for Jonathan McClendon and Alyssa Lopez.
All right.
Placement be continued in the department name permanent managing conservator.
All right. All right. Give me about 5 minutes or so. There's a couple of things I want to look back on. And this goes for both parents, but especially Mr. McClendon, you, since you don't have an attorney, you might want to get something to write on when I announce my final order. So I'll be back here in between 5 and 10 minutes. Okay, I think everybody's back with us. Okay, based on the evidence I've heard during this trial and the exhibits that have been admitted, I find that it's in the best interest of the three children, John, that the parental rights of the mother, Alyssa Lopez, be terminated. I'll terminate those rights today based on Texas Family Code Section 161.001, subsections B, 1D, and E. I further find that it's in the best interest of the parental rights of the father, Jonathan McClendon, be terminated. I'll terminate those rights today based on Texas Family Code Section 161.001, subsections B, 1D, E, N as in Nancy, and O. Hang on, I'm going to take a quick break. It's telling me my battery's about to run out on my laptop. Give me just a second. Okay, I apologize. Continuing, I will name the department permanent managing conservator. I'll continue all of the children's current placements. Ms. Wiggins, representing the children and representing the Randall County Domestic Relations Office, will be continued in the case. All other court-appointed relationships will be dismissed after all appellate and de novo periods have expired. Ms. Kincaid, if you would discuss with your client her de novo and appellate rights. Mr. McClendon, I'm not here, as I said at the beginning of this case, I'm not here to give you legal advice, but since you are not represented and these types of cases have accelerated deadlines, I'm going to mention a few things. This is not by any way intended to be a complete list of things that you'd have to do if you desire to have a de novo hearing before the referring court, or whether you wish to appeal this case to the Court of Appeals. A few things that I think you need to be aware of, since it is such short time periods, If you are asking for a de novo hearing before the referring court, which is the Randall County Court at Law Number 1, that's called a de novo hearing, which roughly means new hearing. The rules say that any hearing conducted by an associate judge, which I am, at the conclusion of that hearing, you can request a de novo hearing before the referring court by filing with the clerk a written request not later than the 3rd working day after the date you receive notice of the substance of the associate judge's report or ruling, which is the ruling I just made. The rules go on to state that if you request that de novo hearing, you must specify the issues that will be presented to the referring court at the de novo hearing. If a request for a de novo hearing is filed by any other party, that would be either the department or Ms. Lopez, you may file for your own de novo hearing before the referring court no later than the 3rd working day after the date the initial request for a de novo hearing is filed by some other party. I'm not suggesting that's everything you have to do to ask for a de novo hearing, but that's the highlights. You've got 3 business days from the day you learn of my ruling. If you choose to want to ask for an appeal to the Court of Appeals, it's a lot more detailed. I'm going to tell you, there's certain things that I think you would want to look at immediately, because if you ask for an appeal, the time to perfect your appeal, it must be in writing, and it must be filed with the clerk within 20 days after the latter of the date the clerk's record is filed or the date the reporter's record is filed. In conjunction with filing for an appeal, I would suggest that you look at the following Texas Rules of Appellate Procedure: 28.1, 26.1, 34.6, 38.6, and 10.5. That in no way am I suggesting is conclusive of everything you might have to do to request an appeal to the Court of Appeals. Do you understand that, Mr. McClendon?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then, of course, you have an attorney too, but Ms. Lopez, did you basically understand that you have rights to ask for a new hearing before the referring court, and you have the right to appeal this to the Court of Appeals?
I do, you Judge.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I did not have the date for our first review hearing. I don't know if Brittany, if you have it, or who might have it.
We can set one today. I don't believe I wrote one down though. Let me get a date.
Okay. Let's keep it within 90 days.
Yes.
All right, then. If there's nothing further, then this was our last hearing for the day. So we will stand in recess. Everybody have a good weekend. And Amy, I guess I'll see you Monday. No, you'll be gone, right?
Yeah, I'll be gone. It's a little over a week and then I'll see you.
We'll see you
Okay.
on Friday, the 27th.
There you go.
All right. So I guess is it Nori? Who's going to cover for us?
Jody.
Okay. Jody. Okay. All right. Y'all have a good weekend.
Thanks.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank y'all.